Okay, so let's go to the latching operation of this circuit. Just one contact will make a difference. 13 and 14 of your main contactors will just make the difference. So by the time we loop 13 and 14 to the switch, to the on button switch, to the on button, normally open on button switch, the problem is solved. So when you press the circuit, press your button, the motor starts running, and when you stop it, the motor stops. Just like this. This is, you see, or press, the motor stops. It's still running because I'm holding my hand. When I remove it, it stops. It stops. Okay, so but when we do the latching operation, on latching operation, as immediately you press, remove your hand, motor keeps on running until you press stop, it stops. So let's go to the circuit board, then we'll add something that makes the difference. So 13 and 14 of this contactor. Okay, so let me remove the auxiliary. So that's, I think this auxiliary, we don't need it for now. So let me remove it. It goes to my desk. So I have, so that you will see what I'm doing. So on 13 and 14, which is the normally open contact of this contactor, goes to what? Goes to this switch, goes to the open. So I'll loop it with the switch to the normally open of the switch. The switch is already normally open to the on button switch. So up to the press button switch, I will just loop it there. So you see on the circuit board, I will show you what I'm doing here physically. Okay, so let's go to the circuit board so that you will see. Okay, so let's do it. And so coming to this place, this point, I will use my highlighter to highlight it. I will just add this here. Okay. Finish. That is the end of the story. So I don't know whether it's clear. It's clear. So this is 13 and 14. So that is what makes the difference. Okay, let me see that you can zoom it. You see it very well here now. Okay. Okay, so that is it. So this is what makes the difference. This is what makes the difference. By the time we loop our 13 and 14 of K1, this is K1, K1. This is K1, the contact of this, the auxiliary contact of this contactor. We'll loop it here on this switch, the S1, 3 and 4. We'll loop 13 and 14 of K1 to 3 and 4 of this switch of S1. It becomes a latching circuit. Latching operation, then when I press, the motor keeps running until I press stop. So that is it. So let's do it quickly. So, okay. Okay, so this is my on button. So I have these two wire as my on button switch. First of all, let me put off the utility. So that's, so this is it. So I loop these two. So let's trace it. One goes to the A1. This is A1. Look at it here. It goes to A1. A1 of this contactor. A1. So we'll loop from A1. We'll loop it to this place. Then from 14, it goes to this switch. It goes down here. Look at it here. So it's here. One of it is here. So I can take from the top of this place. So that is it. So, okay. So first of all, I'll put this one here. I don't know whether you are seeing it. Okay. Okay, so to make my connections. Okay, so that is it. So let's connect and see. Let me first of all lose it. Remember, my control voltage is 220, not 24 volts. So you have to be very careful. Make sure that the power is out before tampering with your connections. So this goes to what? goes to 14. Goes to 14. 14. You might not be seeing it, but just know that it goes to the 14, which is normally open of this contactor. So it goes to 14. It goes to 14. So now the 13 goes to the other aspect of the switch. So I will just loop it, just a small loop here. Then we are good to go. I think we are good to go. This one can solve the problem. So let's take this one. Then, so that is it. It's too long, but just for the purpose of this tutorial, let's leave it this way. Okay, so looking at the circuits, the place that I have highlighted, I highlighted this place. So look at it now. 1314 of the K1 is looped towards, is looped to S1, 3, and 4. 1314 loop to S1, 3, and 4. And when you look at that 1314, when you look at the 14 of it, loop to 4, all goes toward to A1. So that's what I did here. All goes to A1. So goes to the switch, which is the open switch. Like I've told you, I've mentioned what I did here. I told you what I did here, how I loop this one to this place, to this contact. Okay, so that is it. One switch, one contact. Without switch, this contact. So this is to the open contact of this switch. This one is a contact of this switch. So that is just it. So goes to this place. Look at it. All of that goes to A1. The looping, the 13 goes to the A1. So then the 14 comes up and goes to, the 14 comes like this and goes to the looping of the switch. Okay, so that is just it. So by the time we now put the control, the control back, remember the control, then we are good to go. By the time we on the motor, you will see that the motor will keep on running till we push the off button switch. Okay, so that is it. So let's push it and see how it goes. Good. The motor keeps on running. Okay. So the motor keeps on running until I push the off button. If I push the off button, it stops. Okay. When the on button starts. Okay, I think we have come to the conclusion of this tutorial on etching and latching operation of electric motor. How you can control your motor with one contactor, two switches, and that is just it. One contactor and two switches, that is what is here. Okay, including overload. Okay, you have your MCB, miniature circuit breaker for motor protective circuit breaker for short circuit protection. Then you have your overload for your overload protection. Okay, so that is it, as simple as ABCD. Okay, so I did something here. I can also activate it with I can shut the motor down by pressing the overload stop button. You have a reset. In the overload, you see there's a button. Let me just show you what I did here. I don't know whether it's captured. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, that's this button. You can also stop the motor with this button. If you have an overload fault, you reset, but you can also stop to test. You can stop the motor here. So I can start it here. I can come to this place and press. To actually know whether you have already wired your overload, you can press a stop here and it stops. So this is just like a test to see that your overload is, you wired it correctly. So if you stop it, you didn't stop from here, you know that something is wrong in your overload connection. You missed something. You missed something. You missed something. Okay, so that is it. So I start again. I can stop by pressing the overload. Okay, I start again. I can stop by pressing the overload. Okay, so the contactors, if you manually press it, the motor start. Okay, I can stop it. Okay, so that is the end of the story. Remember what happens here? When you press, it enters inside. What does that mean? What it means is that the circuit has been completed. Immediately it enters, it will just from here continues go down. So you don't need to press this one again. So that is what actually happens. So let me just show you from the circuit diagram, from the wiring diagram. Very simple. I pressed the contactor manually. What it does is to close this place. You know, it is normally open. So whenever I press it, it closes this place. So it flows directly like this. It continues. So it remains closed. So even if I press the contactor with screwdriver, it will remain closed until I engage the off button. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying here. I press the contactor like this. The motor keeps running. Okay, so if I engage the stop button, it stops. So as simple as that. Okay, so in our next tutorial, very simple tutorial in our next tutorial, we are going to go on and add a timer on the circuit board. So we are going to add a timer. This is where this only timer will come to operation. Say yes, that is it. So I'm going to add it. So in the next tutorial, we're going to add a timer. Then we'll work with the timer. We'll see what timer can do, how we can incorporate it. And then what actually happened is that it's very simple to do, but let's wait and see on the next tutorial. It's a very simple thing. If you're logical enough, you have already figured it out. But before I introduce this, you already figured out how to do it. So if you're logical enough, but if you're not, no problem. There's no problem for that. We are all here to learn. So we can do that one together. Then you see how we incorporate the timer. You time the motor. When you must have pressed it, first of all, the power comes to the timer starts counting. After counting, it closes the normally open contact of this timer. The normally open contact, as it's closing the A1 of the contactor, and the motor comes on. And that is just it. So the timer will remain on the circuit. Okay, for some timers that are not all that strong enough, the one thing with this timer, there's electronics inside. Some timers, by the time you leave them permanently on a system, after some time it will give way, and there's a way to do it. Once the timer comes on, once the contactor comes on, it puts the timer off. So by so doing, your timer will last for you, especially if you are using some timers that are somehow substandard. So that's a way to protect your timer and protect your components. As it's giving the contactor power, it goes off immediately. So it's all about your routing and your connection. You can still do that, but I will leave that one for your assignment when the time comes. But I will introduce this timer. We'll do with the timer. We'll see what timer can do in latching operation. So our next tutorial is latching operation with a timer, with a delay timer. To time your motor, maybe 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, your motor starts. So that is it. Okay. Bye-bye for now. You are welcome to Mr. Great Workshop. Bye for now. God bless you.